Welcome to Boxing on the Record with Chi-Town and Randy. Chi-Town, what's going on with you, man? What's on your mind? What you want to get out your mind and put on the record?
Man, Randy, you know that Frank Martin and Tank fight has finally been at least confirmed by one of Tank's trainers, Coach Kenny Ellis, has confirmed that that fight's a done deal. They're just trying to, put together a venue and a date. So I'm really excited about that fight, man. And I just really wanted to kind of go in on how I see that fight going. Well, number one, it's going to be a win for Tank regardless. He's either going to be a knockout, which I feel is probable, maybe after the seventh round, but it can still go to the scorecard. So I'm not even trying to call a pick if it's going to be a knockout or not until we get closer to that fight. I was just really, excuse me, thinking more strategically about the fight itself. But Frank being, a very good, a good boxer, he's a good counter puncher. He does have uh, some good defense, and he's able to read his opponents, at least opponents we've seen so far. He's been able to read them extremely well. And I would say that Frank, is probably the best opponent in that division that Tank has fought. Ryan doesn't have the skill class that Frank has, and I'm just thinking about cats at 135, and I'm thinking about people that moved up to fight Tank, and then Tank moving up to fight other people, and then people moving down to fight him and going into weight clauses. I'm just thinking about people who are literally at that division who fought other people at that division. And I just feel like out of all of that, this will be his best opponent that he's fought. Based off of but yeah, I think Frank has enough to bring out some additional skills in Tank, because I'm really tired of people thinking Tank is only a knockout puncher. Tank is a very good boxer. Tank has good footwork that goes missed because he's just constantly out there trying to, sell fights and do knockouts. Tank also has good timing. And we all know that. We see that he's always trying to time the people so he can get the knockout. But he has good timing on how to throw a person off their rhythm. And so without even trying to knock a person out, you can have a certain level of timing when you know a person's going to try to throw a jab or something like that, and you'll jab them to the body, jab them to the head or something to kind of make them take an extra breath, or throw a couple of feints to make them take an extra breath, or make them take an extra foot movement, an extra step, something they didn't expect to do. They weren't planning on doing. We call that throwing them off rhythm. And you have to be able to obviously read opponent to be able to do that. And you do that by kind of so-called collecting the data. But then in order to do that, you have to have good footwork and good reflexes and timing to be able to do that. And Tank has those things. And fighting someone, up and comer, fresh guy like Frank, who's really looking forward to a fight like this to put his name out there. I think this is a beautiful fight for Tank to showcase his skills. And I think it's going to be a skill fight. But yeah, it's still, in my opinion, going to be somewhat of an easy fight for Tank, about a 75-85% easy fight. But Frank is definitely going to come with his. What you got on that, Randy?
I mean, I agree with you. I just don't think Frank is ready for a level of fighter like Tank Davis right now. I think Frank got a good name. He's an up and coming good name, but I don't think he has the abilities and the IQ and all that right now at this present moment to face somebody like Tank. I think personally, I think it's another cherry pick. They had to pick Frank because he's a black name that everybody's saying Tank don't fight black American fighters, so they had to pick a name. It's mighty funny to me that they picked Frank and not Shakur. Everybody always talking about, well, Tank's the A side, this, that, and the third, but you always make an excuse for Tank to be in the A side, and Shakur haphazardly or whatever they've reached out to Tank. So why haven't Tank reached out to them? That would have been the best fight for Tank to fight. That is the best fight in the division. Why he didn't take that fight? That's the kind of stuff I look at when people criticize Devin for trying to make fights. Not saying that I'm on Devin and Bill's team. I'm on boxing team. When Devin is trying his best to make the fights, then why you criticize that man? Like I said, Devin reached out to Tank to make the fight. Everybody said you don't make the B side, don't make no offer to the A side. Well, why didn't Tank turn around and ask Devin to fight me in my backyard for a bag of potato chips and a blow pop? Whatever the case may be. Frank, I mean, Tank hasn't reached out to Shakur to ask him to fight. We all know how those three fighters fight, and it would be a fight that nobody would really know who's gonna win. So I think it's just a cherry pick, and I think they don't have no effort. They don't have to put no big effort in beating Frank. It's probably gonna look good for boxing, and especially to the casual fans. They won't see the fact that Tank is toting Frank through the fight. So I mean, that's how I feel about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Randy, I mean, I mean, you hit all the nails on the head, and I'm just going to start with the A side real quick and just jump to the things. You're right, man. You think about some of these other A side cats that we've seen move like that when they were the A side. Well, let's go back in the day, so called to the younger generation when Anthony Joshua was the A side and Deontay Wilder was the B side, calling him out all the time, and he would never so-called A side AJ would even bring up Wilder or be like, well, I'll look at my team, I would say about this and move around wherever. Look at Canelo, who's been A side since he lost to Floyd, and it just been strategic on who he does. Any of those top cats that are going to cause him any kind of problems that could create a difficult fight for him, for these A side kids, they always are hesitant in trying to pick them, even speaking their name, or any of those type of things. So this is how this goes. This is what we've been seeing, man. And you're absolutely right. Shakur would be the one that creates that is the best fight for Tank at the division. But it's not going to happen. And what I wanted to add as well, we all know, like we said, Frank is a counterpuncher. And we saw his fight against, I think it was Artem. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head right now. I think it was Artem. The fight before he was supposed to try to fight Shakur, when he became for the mandatory position, where he just fought straight defensively all the way through because defensive minded against someone who's not even on the level of a Tank. So imagine this kind of puncher who knows that Tank has the ability to knock him out. Beautiful ringtone, by the way. I always love that, and I know the scene that's coming from too. But anyways, and the other scenes. But anyways, I just like you said, I expect Frank to fight even more defensively minded, to be more cautious going into that fight against Tank because of those type of things. And he'll try to get off here and there, and Tank's gonna try to create some openings for Frank to make Frank feel comfortable, like he can come in and do whatever he has to do, and then this is where Tank, go ahead and does what he has to do. But yeah, Frank has not been on this level. He's going to be defensively minded first, which is going to make it extremely boring in many points because he just doesn't want to get knocked out. But the inevitable is going to happen. Tank's still going to win, and possibly by knockout.
I agree with you 100%, man, because it's just another fight to make Tank look good. And to say that they fought a Black American fighter, this will probably be one of the few times, if again he fight a black fighter, because like I said, everybody talk about um um they moving Devin strategically. They moving Devin strategically. But what about Tank? You talking about the Devin Haney Tank fight? Everybody's in an uproar. It's not gonna happen. Y'all just don't trust me. It's not gonna happen. Now, why everybody talking about that? Devin is too big and Tank is too small. But why ain't nobody talking about Shakur? Why Tank ain't running after Shakur? Why he ain't knocking his door down to fight him? If it was such an easy fight for Tank, he would be. But it's not easy as people or as Tank followers think it is. Everybody know who they can beat, and I've told you this um, out the record, and I may have said it on the record somewhere. You know who you can beat, and you know who you can't beat. and you stay away from the ones that you can't beat. What you got?
That's it, baby. Ain't nothing else to come after that, man. Ain't nothing. I can't beat what you said. How about that? I know what I can't beat. So I'm done, bro. That's what it is.
Sound good. Sound good. Um, with that being said, we're out of here like last year.
Peace.